Okay, we talked about the blockchain last time. I think we stopped at this page. This is a kind of simplified blockchain diagram. Many things are not shown, but we can still get the essential idea of blockchain. So we've seen that transaction details have been recorded in a block, and then that will have to be verified. So what do verify mean? What do verification mean? That means the miners have to combine all the transaction properties, including necessary signatures and previous hash results, like this, as a challenge. So the challenge contains previous hash and transaction properties of the current block. Altogether, they serve as a challenge. The goal is to find the proof, which is another bit string, so that all together, if they put everything together in the hash, it's gonna produce consecutive zeros. At the current moment, there should be 19 consecutive zeros, and the time when Bitcoin was created, they didn't think about the efficiency of the database. So basically, there's no database at all. Everything is written as kind of like a basic log file. Okay, so in that case, not even for we ask the most basic question, like what is my balance? That kind of question is difficult to it's difficult to answer, because you have to scan through the first block until the current block in order to know that whether or not you have enough balance to complete the transaction. So that is why it's not very efficient. Okay, but that's not an issue in the beginning. So anyway, this is the proof of work. And regarding this threshold zeros, currently there are 19 of those. It's dynamically adjusted. Actually, the creator of blockchain of Bitcoin, they limit. He limited the total number of coins to be exactly 21 million Bitcoins, 21 million BTC. So that's the maximum possible. And whenever there is a block created, we know that the miner will get a fee for that, right? And that fee, okay, that service fee will be inserted as a block in the future. In fact, it's like 100 blocks later, it will be inserted. So at the moment that a block is created, we know that some miners is going to charge the service fee, and then that service fee will again create another block. It will represent as in the format of another block. So when that happens, that means new money has been created. Okay, that's 100 blocks later. The system will reward these miners new money. Okay, so it is essential. I mean, when we design a cryptocurrency, in fact, not just cryptocurrency, any currency, okay, the most crucial part is when and who can create money. That's the most important, because who has the power to create money, that will greatly affect usability of this currency. So in the past, we've seen too many examples, like they just keep issuing too much money, and then we'll get really high inflation. For example, like now, what the U.S. is doing is that it's printing U.S. dollars, right? You guys have heard about the quantitative the quantitative easing. So that actually means printing money. For example, the original version of the quantitative easing in 2008, like 8 billion, 8 no, not 8 billion, 8 800 billion US dollar was just created in one shot. Okay, so just that's the first QE, and then the QE2 is like every month the US will print and will create $60 billion, something like that, US dollars. So you guys can see that's a hell lot of money. So, if in the market just too much money has been created, those money is going to flood the whole network, and then that will bring up inflation seriously. So then your money won't worth that much. That's the main problem. So if you cannot control the speed of increasing new money, then you have a big trouble. Then the currency won't be worth a lot. So that's the problem. Because why is the currency have spending power? Where's this spending power come from? It's actually from the confidence of the holders. So confidence is the key. For example, I keep my NT dollars because I believe that when I need those, I can use those dollars to buy things I want. So I have confidence in the economy of Taiwan. I have confidence about the Taiwanese government. That is why I trust this money. I think it has spending power. So it's all about confidence. For example, if a country is deteriorating, its economy is deteriorating, and it's the financial status of a country is on the verge of a collapse, a breakup, that kind of thing, then people lose confidence. Or if the government is printing money like printing papers, then people, all citizens, will lose confidence. So it's all about confidence. So Bitcoin set up a really interesting rule. It's like they will dynamically adjust the speed of creating new money. That's by increasing the threshold zeros. So every time the amount of Bitcoin has been amount of Bitcoin, the BTC, has been issued, the total amount of BTC being issued is doubled, they will double the difficulty. They will insert a new zero. Okay, they will actually lengthen the threshold zeros. So it will be harder and harder to mine. That's a key. That is why it puts a limit on the speed of the BTC that will be created. That's essential. Okay, threshold zeros, and it's actually hard coded in the Bitcoin software. There's no way to change that, because originally I believe the creator of Bitcoin didn't actually expect Bitcoin could achieve such success. So he didn't think about it, right? Now there's a hard limit of 21 million BTCs. Okay, that's the that's the total possible amount of Bitcoin that could be issued. Okay, it's a hard limit. You can't change that. Anyway, we know that as mining, as time goes by, it will be harder and harder to mine Bitcoins. Okay, and why do miners do the bookkeeping job? Because the miners want to get reward, right? So increasing the difficulty of mining means decreasing the profit for miners, right? You spend more time. You need to achieve more threshold zeros, then you get the same money. That's a problem, right? So eventually they will reach a point that um, it's not profitable anymore. So if that happens, that means no miners would like to verify these transactions anymore because they cannot make money. They cannot get service fees. In that case, the Bitcoin will collapse because the limit of the total number of Bitcoin that could be issued is 21 million BTC. So that's a hard limit. As time goes by, it will be harder and harder to mine, and then your profit margin will be less and less, right? Eventually, there will be actually no. It will reach a point that you won't make any profit at all. So that's the problem, right? So theoretically, Bitcoin would collapse. The value of Bitcoin will collapse, theoretically. I thought that a few years ago, and I think, my lab, and I was like pretty much the second person in Taiwan who was doing this type of thing. The first one is Professor Liao at NTHU. He did the first blockchain in Taiwan. His team created the Gcoin. Okay, that's in 2014 or 2015. And at that time, I thought that, well, Bitcoin was just so expensive. Remember, there's a hacker, like there is a the there's this malicious software that will lock your computer, that will encrypt everything of your computer and then ask for a ransom. I remember, like, in 2014, they asked for 1 Bitcoin. That's about 500 US dollars. I thought it was crazy, right? It's crazy because it's just too much. Initially, back in 2009, 2008, 2009, the value of Bitcoin per BTC is like 4 US dollars per Bitcoin you can buy, right? In 2014, 15, it's 500. So that's crazy. It's almost like 100 times more, right? 100 times more means 10,000%. That's just way too much. So I thought it was expensive. But now, guess what? Now what's the value? Like 50,000 US dollars. 40, 50,000. It's totally unimaginable, right? And theoretically, I already told you guys, it will eventually collapse. But why is its value still so high? I will share this with you. There's some really weird reasons. Okay, and later we'll talk about that. So signature, we all know that digital signature. We can skip this part. Transaction properties. Let's take a look at the transaction properties of Bitcoins. Irreversible. Obviously, it's irreversible because you can only add blocks, right? You cannot delete the block. Okay. So this is actually one of the most important properties that people take advantage of, because you can only add block, and then those blocks, the whole blockchain, they're saved at all computers on the Bitcoin network. All the computers on the network, they have the same chain. So there is no way you can delete a block, because if you delete a block, first thing, the hash verification won't pass. It's not possible, right? So let's say you insert fake blocks, but it's difficult to rewrite, right? To replace this fake block over the whole network, because every computer every computer in the network has a chain, right? If you want to forge a chain, you have to replace the fake data. You have to replace the real data by your fake data on all computers of the network, which is nearly impossible because there are millions of computers in the network, right? So that is why it's irreversible. So we can think of it as this way. It's a good analogy. It's like you have a special pen, like if some people are doing biological experiments, biology experiments, there's some type of pen that you can only write on things, and it's impossible to erase it. Yeah, if you guys know that, there's special purpose pens like that. So there's special pen with special ink that will be impossible to remove. You can write on things, but you cannot erase them. You cannot erase anything written using that pen. A blockchain is like that. You can only insert block. You cannot take a block away. So it's like you can only add data. Okay, and then amazingly, this is something. This is implemented in a way that there's no centralized controller about this. That is the amazing part. And then everybody can trust, because nobody trusts each other, right? They trust the vote. So everything, if let's say if there's an anomaly, okay, of data of two computers, how do a node know? For example, you're a node, and then you have two neighbors. Their blockchains are different. How do you decide which one is correct? Actually, Bitcoin uses this type of thing, voting. So you look at all your neighbors, right? Let's see how many people. The majority of the people is the answer. You look at your neighbors. If more people, if there are 10 neighbors, you had 10 neighbors, 6 people said this is the block version 1, this is blockchain version 1, and then four of them is blockchain version 2, you will go with blockchain version 1. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. So basically, let's say if you have enough power, you control 51% of a nodes on the network, then basically you can fake data. Whatever you do, you can fake data, right? So theoretically we can do that, but let's think about that. There are millions of computers in the network. Okay, so this is so many. In order to own 51% of them, that's huge. It's almost impossible. You must be an oligarch to do that. It's an oligarch in the network. Well, if it's an oligarch, well, if we think about, from the point of view of the oligarchs, what benefits an oligarch? If, let's say, faking the Bitcoin, does it benefit the oligarch? No, actually, for oligarchs like that, the best benefit is to maintain the stability of the Bitcoin network, because their interests are all they're the common interest, right? If you're an oligarch, you profit from the Bitcoin network. You definitely hold lots of assets in the form of Bitcoin, BTC. If you disrupt Bitcoin, that everyone knows it's been cracked, nobody will use Bitcoin anymore. Then you actually lose your assets. That is why, from an oligarch's point of view, they will actually protect the Bitcoin from being cracked, right? So it's designed in such a amazing way. I don't know whether or not the designer thought about this or it actually turned out to be like this. I have no idea. But anyway, I think this is this is wonderful. So even though there's no centralized authority, people still believe Bitcoin because the people that could disrupt the Bitcoin network are the oligarchs, and then the oligarchs' biggest biggest interest is to maintain the stability of the Bitcoin network. That is why. Okay. So we have this irreversible property. Okay, and also pseudonymous. Okay, actually it can be pseudonymous or it can be public as well. Then there are two different versions. Okay, so that is why the original Bitcoin, they can be pseudonymous or you can be public as well. Fast and global. How fast? 1 hour, right? I mentioned that. So 10 minutes for a block to be temporarily confirmed, and then 1 hour for the block to be fully confirmed. Secure because it's all based on the interest of everybody. Okay, that is why I said this is not new, definitely not new technology. It's just a very tricky and a very great way of combining people's interest. So they, for the most benefit, it's actually best to cooperate with other people. Okay, in this way, in this rule of game, right? Permissionless. I'll mention about this. So for permissionless, that actually means it's everybody can be a miner. Everybody can contribute. So everybody, if you have some computation power, you can verify the transactions, right? You can add blocks. So this is called permissionless. That's the original version of Bitcoin. So there's a permissionless. They actually came up with this idea, and there's actually the contrary called permissioned plus ed. So in a permissioned network, it's not working like this. It's totally different. Okay, so the Bitcoin is permissionless. In a permissioned network, that will be more like a private network. Okay, not everybody can add blocks. Only authorized users, maybe a centralized server or in a distributed version, maybe some super nodes, they can add blocks. So not everybody is created equal. So in that case, it's called permissioned. There are a lot of cryptocurrencies, for example, like El Salvador. They basically the government of El Salvador, they actually created a cryptocurrency, and then that's also their legal currency. It's their legal currency as well. So in that case, if it's a legal currency, you can use that to do exchange. It's actually, for a country, if a cryptocurrency can be, for example, exchanged with a legal currency, then it's bound to a legal currency. Okay, so that will be very, very powerful. So in that case, Actually, the power to issue new money, I believe it belongs to the central bank of a country. So in that case, it cannot be permissionless, because permissionless, what does permissionless mean? Everybody can be a miner, right? So if everybody can be a miner, that means everybody can potentially create coins, right? That's actually a lot of power. So Bitcoin can be um, permissionless because it's not bound to a legal currency. Okay, and you can exchange at a rate, and then it goes up and down, right? But it's not bound to something, okay, fixed. So if it's bound to a, 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 a legal currency, that will be actually quite risky. I remember a few years ago, I was talking with a consultant in the Taichung, in Taichung City. Okay, in that at that moment, the mayor is Lin Jialong. I was talking with one of his consultants. Okay, and then I I remember we were at a meeting, and then that person he mentioned that they were planning to issue a Taichung coin. So I asked him, so what kind of what kind of cryptocurrency would Taichung coin be? Okay, is it permissionless, or is it permission? Okay, and just think about this. Okay, if the Taichung coin, okay, if the Taichung coin is permissionless, that means everybody can mine, right? And why do you want to mine Taichung coin? Because you want to get you want to get reward, right? And then if the reward is useful, then you will go for it, right? If it's not useful, then nobody will do that, because it's worthless. Okay. So here comes to the decision. So can Taichung coin be exchanged with, for example, a new Taiwan dollar? If you can exchange a Taichung coin with new Taiwan dollar, that will be really risky, right? Because that means the cryptocurrency is bound to a legal currency, which is the new Taiwan dollars. Okay, new Taiwan dollar. So for example, if anybody that can mine the Taichung coin, he or she can actually mine the new Taiwan dollar. Okay, let's say you actually mine some Taichung coin, and then you want to exchange. Who is going to pay for that? Who is going to take the who is going to contribute the NT dollar to exchange for these Taichung coin? Is the Taichung mayor's office, or Taichung City? Should Taichung City pay for that? So that is really risky, right? So permissionless is quite a risky job, because permissionless means everybody can mine. Means everybody can mine this coin. Okay. And that consultant told me, he basically the original idea is they want to use Taichung coin. They want to create this cryptocurrency for social welfare, that kind of thing. So that's a different concept. Okay, maybe you cannot exchange those Taichung coin with Taiwanese dollars. Okay, but you can, for example, like use them, and sometimes you go to special events, you can probably get a Coke or something. You can get food, or you can enjoy some service. That's possible. Limited use. So that type of thinking is more like it's kind of like the you store credit in an easy card. Okay, or for example, like you play computer games, online games, and then you have some credits, right? A bonus, that kind of thing. So that if it's that kind of thing, you can use those coins to exchange for some limited service or limited stuff. Okay, then that's the bonus idea. It's not the Bitcoin idea. So in that case, it cannot be permissionless. Okay, it will be permissioned because you gotta have some administrator that could issue those bonus, right? That kind of thing. So that's a totally different idea. So in that case, you really don't need blockchain at all. What you need is somebody, usually a centralized server who does the bookkeeping task. Okay, and then this trusted central authority will collect data, will put everything in there, and then you can check whether you have that money or not. It's basically a database server, right? So in that case, for permissioned blockchain, it acts like a secure database server. So that's a totally different idea. So if it's a centralized server, why do you need to organize your data like blocks, like as a chain? Because first of all, you don't have to store everything in every computer, right? You can just put everything on the cloud, right? You're the cloud server, trusted. Okay, for example, in Taiwan, we have a central bank, that kind of thing, or network administrator. Okay, so that administrator has enough computing power, right? It has a lot of computers, right? Mainstream computers. So the point is organize all transaction data, and organize the ledger. Okay, if anybody wants to make a query about ledger, you can show them. It's a database, and then as long as your database is designed well and it's difficult to be attacked, then you will work, right? You don't have to have to use this challenge proof of work, this kind of thing, because it wastes a lot of energy, right? For every block, if you have your private key, the centralized server just signs everything, like the CA, right? Certificates. Every data has been published will be attached to certificates from the server. That's it. All data are like that. And then you have some you can make queries, and then you can protect your data. That's enough. So it's a secure database. So in other words, I'm saying that for permissioned cryptocurrencies, it's actually secure database. But the thing is, they don't call themselves secure databases because that's uninteresting, right? They call themselves blockchains instead of secure database. I did that too. I actually, in the past, I applied many projects from the 国科会. I never called those projects secure databases, because if I had called those secure databases, I wouldn't have been able to get money from them because lacks novelty. So those buzzwords, they're really important too. I also call them data. I also call them a blockchain, right? It's just not permissionless, right? Okay. In fact, there are a lot of blockchains that can be permissioned or permissionless. For example, like IBM has one of them, ETH has one of them, Ethereum, right? They provide a lot of tools that people can use. Now we have so many tools that's free, and you can just use them. So transaction properties, it's irreversible. We know that, right? Because after confirmation, the transaction cannot be reversed. Right? You add a block, you cannot take them back. It's not possible. Okay, so it's irreversible, pseudonymous, uh, pseudonymous. So we know that fast and global. Okay, secure, permissionless. Okay. So the core of the permissionless, the idea of permissionless is that everybody can mine. Okay. So now there are a lot of different cryptocurrencies there, and the obviously the most famous one is Bitcoin. That's the most famous one. Okay. So now there's so many software tools that we can use. You can start your chain as well. You can start your own digital currency as well, cryptocurrency, right? It's just whether or not your digital currency is interesting and people want to mine it or people want to use it. So how it works is easy. If somebody requests a transaction, you have some way to record that. Okay, the requested is broadcast right to the network, and then will be validated, right? Validated. Okay, and then when it's verified, it's added to the chain, and the transaction is completed. That's it. Cryptocurrency. Okay. So there are a lot of there are many applications of this type. Okay, peer-to-peer, in person, or remote. Okay. Now let's take a look at different cryptocurrencies. This diagram is actually very well updated. It's updated a few days ago. Maybe like one week ago. Okay, so Bitcoin is still the hottest cryptocurrency. We can take a look at others. So Ethereum's we know, okay, and there are others like Tether, okay. So Tether or USD coin. USD coin is different because the USD coin is bound to the US dollars, okay. So this is not a permissionless cryptocurrency. So when we look at those cryptocurrencies, we have to be careful with the context of that. Okay, and XRP. So the XRP is also like this. Okay, it's not permissionless. So some of them are permissionless, like Bitcoin, Ethereum. Okay, and then these. Some of them are not. USD coin, XRP. So it depends on the context. These are the top 10. You guys can check. Just type cryptocurrencies. There will be a lot of them. Okay. Now there's like 100 of them. Yeah. And let's talk about Facebook, because Mark Zuckerberg wanted to use that to start his own cryptocurrency, and it was initiated in 2019, and the original version was called Libra. Okay. And then he wanted to, further extend the idea of Bitcoin. So then he basically wanted to, issue a cryptocurrency that can be used for all Facebook users. So the crazy thing is that Facebook's users are like so much. There's so many Facebook users. It's almost 2 billion people, because it includes India. India has like 1.5 billion people, and then the US has like 0.3 billion, right? 300 million people. Okay, and then also Europe has a lot as well, like 0.4 billion. So altogether, it's more than 2 billion people. Okay, if a Facebook is issues its own cryptocurrency, it's going to challenge the US dollar, right? That's not possible, right? Because the U.S. the core the core interest of the United States is the U.S. dollar, right? Because everybody can use U.S. dollar to buy things, right? So everybody trusts U.S. dollar, right? This was established after World War II, right? So if you guys know about the history of economics, right? Before World War II, it's difficult to do international business with other people. For example, like French, if French wants to do business with English people, it's difficult because of French. They have francs, okay, and Britain has GBP, British pounds, right? Let's say if France wants to buy something from the British people, what money should they pay? They should pay the GBP, right? So that's a problem because you have to have some exchange of francs with GBP. Right? What's the rate? It depends on the supply or demand, but that's very difficult because, if you for two countries, it's difficult to break even, right? Because it's not easy to let's say you do business with another country, for example, like India and Russia, right? So Russia uses rubles, India uses rupees. So this exchange, well, they can use their own currency exchange, no problem. But the thing is, eventually one country will sell more than the other. It's difficult. It's almost impossible to break even. Like two countries have exactly what the other country needs, and then you can just exchange evenly, right, without any problems. So eventually, one country will have more. Will export more. So what do you have in return? You have the other country's money. What do you do with them, right? So that's a problem. So that is why the US dollar came out, because put it in this way, the United States said, well, let's make currency exchange easy, because everybody can, if you're any major currency, you can exchange with US dollars. Okay, and then since the size of US dollar, okay, is so big, and the United States pretty much has everything you need, everything, all kinds of goods you need, you can find in the United States, because the United States at that moment was the manufacturer of the world. Everything you need you can buy. So for example, like let's say Germany wants to do business with Britain, right? And if there's a surplus, they can actually exchange with US dollars, right? And then you can, if you can exchange with US dollars, you can exchange anything. So that is why everybody trusts the US dollar. And then because of that, you can calculate an exchange rate from the, for example, like Deutsche Mark with Deutsche Mark against GBP, yeah, British pounds as well, for example, according to their exchange rates with the US dollar. That is why everybody trusts the US dollar, and then it's so US dollar becomes kind of like a world money, universal money, because everybody has confidence in US dollar, right? You can get anything. Now, that's the most important part, right? For any country, if you issue a currency like that, I believe this type of power actually belongs to the central bank, right? So American government is definitely not happy with that, because even though America doesn't have a central bank, it's a Federal Reserve. So the Federal Reserve Bank is kind of like the de facto central bank of the United States. That is why they actually told Zuckerberg not to do this. Okay, so then the American parliaments, they also, the Senate and House of Senates and the representatives, they dislike the idea that Facebook will, set up a new money that will be a big threat to the U.S. dollar hegemony, right? So that's the thing. So basically, this idea was stopped halfway, and then Zuckerberg wasn't totally frustrated. He still has his dream. So he actually changed his name in 2020. They changed his name to DM, and then now, like 2 weeks ago, he wanted to. He changed the name again. He wanted to make this new name, and then he promised he will not challenge American U.S. dollar hegemony. And then the new one's called Tukbak. This photo was released like last week. So now he changed the name of Facebook to Metaverse, and then he brought up the idea again. Let's see. I don't know how successful he will be. Okay, so this is the original Libra plan in 2019. They collaborate with this many companies all together, right? He thought he could challenge. He could do the things like the U.S. government, Federal Reserve Bank. So that's crazy. Application of blockchain. So there's e-wallet, also smart contract, and database system. So the smart contract. Okay, let me talk a little bit about smart contract. So smart contract is like, maybe I can use this as an example. 储蓄型保险. So this type of thing. Okay, so the insurance, right? Insurance. So the insurance contract, something like that. So insurance. So the special one is this contract almost behaves like saving insurance contract, that kind of thing. So put it the easy way. So what is the contract? You pay 10,000 Taiwanese dollars per month. If you do that for consecutive 12 months, then I will pay you. $120,500 altogether in one shot. Okay, so that's an example. So you pay, you do a monthly pay, and then I'll calculate those. I'll give you a little bonus, and then altogether, after the term ends, I will give you. I will pay you back with a little bonus in one shot. So that's a contract. So let's see. We can actually implement this using blockchain. The only thing is, in addition to these transaction details, like who pays who in the blockchain data, in the block data. Now, the block data, if you can extend this block data to a conditional one, like if something happens, then something happens, right? So your block, the transaction data, can allow this conditional statements, then that's a smart contract. So if you can implement those, many things will be easier, because we hear a lot of the news like that. For example, somebody ordered a 珍珠奶茶, like 1,000 cups of 珍珠奶茶, okay, and then those small vendors. In order to do that, the boss has to get up early, like 3 a.m. to prepare these things, and then finally they say, "Wow, sorry, I want to cancel this order," and then things like that. They happen every 2 months or something. Every time when I hear things like that, I was like, really, I was just frowning. Like, why don't you take, why don't you charge them deposit or something, right? So, anyway, if we can use smart contract to We can use smart contract to solve this problem very easily. You just write these things as a conditional term, as a conditional statement. For example, um, if you if the store can deliver 1,000 cups of 珍珠奶茶 to the Delta building at NTHU by 12 o'clock tomorrow, then I will pay you 10,000 Taiwanese, 50,000 Taiwanese dollars. So that's a conditional statement, right? And then because the blockchains are always like you can write these things and then we can always examine later. So I will be legal, okay? And then you don't have this problem at all. Things can be implemented in a really nice way. Okay? So that's about it. Let's stop. We'll continue on